Dave, can you explain the history of biotech crops in Canada?
Sure, Sean. It really started with the launch of the first traits in about 1995. Canada was the first country to have biotech traits of modern biotechnology in the market. And this was a huge success for us. It was an absolutely magnificent opportunity for our growers to have some great new products in the marketplace. Now, it's grown over the years with introduction not only in corn and in soybeans and in canola, but it's grown to about 20 million acres a year in Canada and about 350 million acres globally in terms of biotech products. It's a real success story.
And so that regulatory system has been based on science.
So in order to get a product approved for sale in Canada, it needs to go through a regulatory system. That system, as you say, is science-based. It's based on internationally recognized standards. It's based on a whole series of procedures around food, health, food, feed, and health. It needs to go through each of those three departments, and it needs to be approved by each of those three before it comes onto the market.
As of recently, there's been a private member's bill introduced called Bill C474. There's a potential, if accepted, that science-based system may be changed. Can you explain what that bill is?
Sure. It's a one-sentence bill that basically would request or require that each new trait that comes to market would need to go through some sort of an assessment for export market harm. And so what that does is it has the potential to slow down the process because each product would need to go to all of its potential export countries to see if there'd be harm there. What it does essentially is it puts into the hands of our foreign politicians, of politicians from our market countries, whether or not we in Canada are going to have new technologies for our growers.
So what do you say to people that would insist that, well, why wouldn't we as a country try to get market access approval on some of these biotech products before we would ever introduce them into commercialization?
Yeah, well, I'd say we've been doing a pretty good job of that for the past 15 years, since 1995. And so there are a number of different ways that that's being done. The first one is through a number of industry-sponsored and industry-led initiatives. One of them might be the Crop Life Canada Market Analysis Principle, where all of the markets, all of the main markets there's a regulatory approval in those before products actually come to market. Another one might be the Canola Council Export Ready program or BIO's Product Launch Stewardship program. So all of those things industry has signed up to, and we're in the process of getting approvals for those through those countries before we launch new products.
So if accepted or if put into place, you mentioned we're kind of putting the innovation of our system kind of in the hands of foreign politicians and other markets. What would it do to innovation with biotech products in Canada?
Well, I guess in my mind, at the very least, it would really slow things down because if we're in a process, if we need to have basically approvals in Europe before we can sell products in Canada, or approvals in India before we can sell products in Canada, or approvals in other, a number of other countries before we can sell products in Canada, then that first of all, that list of countries needs to be defined. And my guess is that list of countries will change over time to the point where it becomes very, very difficult to manage which countries you actually need to have approval in order to market. Do we need to have approval in the US, in Korea, in Japan, or do we need to have approval in 70 or 80 countries around the world? Where is this? Where's the cutoff point? And it's very difficult to really try to make that assessment based on the bill as it is written.
So what has brought this on? Is it things like the issue of triffid flax, or like what has brought this forward? Why is this being promoted as something that's needed in Canada?
You know, I'm not sure exactly what it is. I haven't talked to the member that brought this forward. But if it is triffid flax, and it may be that that's part of it, I don't think that this bill would have actually stopped triffid flax from happening in the marketplace. Triffid flax was never commercialized. It was never a product which went to market, and so it would not have been one of those things that would have been caught by this bill, because this bill says that, you know, this is what's required to go to market. Well, if triffid has not been brought to market and yet we had this issue, I don't think it would have been caught by this bill. So again, the bill may be interesting for some people from some perspectives, but to me the bigger issue is an issue around low-level presence. How do we manage low-level presence on an international level? Canada needs to encourage the rest of the world to be accepting a low-level presence of, or something that's called adventitious presence of GM traits. That way we won't have a shipload of wheat from Canada, for example, that's returned because of dust of a GM canola that might be in that ship. There are much bigger issues to me around the low-level presence and getting that put in place that would really solve a lot of these problems that I believe the intent of 474 is trying to get at.
Dave, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks, Sean.